You don't just marry a man. You marry his family. I'd heard that phrase a million times, but I never realized how real it was until I met Julian's mother, Catherine. From day one, she didn't see me as a partner to her son. She saw me as a rival. Not outright, but in those quiet, cutting ways mothers like her have perfected. You don't cook with enough spice, but it's okay. Julian's used to bland now. I would have chosen ivory over white for the dress, but you're the bride. I hope you can keep up with him. Julian's always been high energy in the bedroom. That one? At brunch. In front of her bridge club. I nearly choked on my mimosa, but Julian? He'd just chuckle and shake his head. She's harmless. She just likes teasing. Don't take it personally. So I didn't. I swallowed my pride for the engagement. For the cake tastings she gatecrashed. For the bridal shower she tried to hijack with her vision board. For the bachelorette she called inappropriate and tried to cancel, but there was always a part of me hoping, naively, that after the wedding, things would change. That once we were husband and wife, we'd have our space, our freedom, our fresh start. God, I was such an idiot. It was 7 days before our honeymoon when it happened. We were in the living room, half-packed suitcases spread out, travel documents neatly stacked on the coffee table. I was folding a beach dress when Julian walked in. Sipping coffee like it was just another morning. Babe, he said casually, Mom wants to come with us. I blinked. Come with us where? To Santorini. She already booked a room at the same resort. Isn't that kind of funny? Funny, I laughed. A tight, bewildered kind of laugh. That's a joke, right? He smiled sheepishly. She's never been to Greece, Ellie. It's been on her bucket list. She thought it would be nice to share the experience. She promises not to interfere. I put the dress down. She wants to come on our honeymoon, Julian. That's not sharing an experience. That's hijacking it. He frowned. She's not hijacking anything. We'll have our own room. We can still do our thing. She just wants to be nearby. Nearby, like a barnacle. Tell me you said no, I said, my voice hardening. His silence was my answer. She's already booked it? I asked. He nodded. And you're okay with this? A longer pause. Then, it makes her happy. My throat went dry. What about my happiness? Ellie, he sighed, it's 1 week. Can we not make a big deal out of this? We've been arguing so much lately, and I just want this to be nice. Nice, he wanted it to be nice, I wanted it to be ours. I didn't say another word. I just turned and walked into the bedroom. I locked the door and lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling. That's when it hit me, I hadn't married a man. I'd married a boy still latched to his mother's approval like it was oxygen. I wasn't his partner. I was a supporting character in the Julian Catherine show, and I was done playing along. I packed my suitcase that night. I folded my clothes carefully, the way I always do, neat rows, color-coded, everything zipped and tucked just right. I placed my passport in the front pocket. My sunglasses in the case. My sun hat perfectly shaped on top. I let him see me preparing. I even smiled as I talked about the beach and the food and the little white churches overlooking the sea. But I knew I wasn't going. I kissed him goodbye the morning of the flight. Told him I'd meet him at the gate. I just needed to swing by my sister's place for something I forgot. He kissed me, smiled, and left, and that was the last thing I gave him freely. He and Catherine boarded that plane. Went to that resort. Posted photos of sunsets and seafood and #FamilyForever captions like it was their romantic getaway. While they toasted their victory with wine, I was back home building a plan, a surprise, something unforgettable, something they'd regret forever. The photos started rolling in before the plane even landed. Julian sent me a selfie on the plane with the caption, "Next stop, paradise. Hope you can too join us on time," and there she was, in the seat next to him, half her face in the frame, grinning like she'd won a prize. Like I was the joke, I stared at my phone in disbelief. Just him and his mother, cruising at 30,000 feet on my honeymoon. I didn't message. I watched, every hour brought new photos. Like they were trying to tease me or something. Catherine posing in front of the Aegean Sea with oversized sunglasses and her signature smug smile. Julian shirtless by the infinity pool, captioned "Sun's out, vibes up." They thought they could erase me from my own honeymoon. That they could parade around Greece pretending I didn't exist. That I would just sit at home and sob into my bouquet. Not a chance. While they were sipping ouzo, I was on my laptop booking something else entirely. A last-minute trip of my own, but not to sulk, no. I was going to flip the narrative. Julian didn't know I had access to the honeymoon reservation account. I was the one who booked it, after all. Every email, every confirmation, every room detail, it was all linked to my personal email. And lucky for me, the resort had an extremely helpful guest service team, a quick call, a warm voice on the other end, and I had what I needed. They were in the honeymoon suite. My suite. Sea view. Balcony. Complimentary wine and chocolates. How fitting. I got to work. I booked a second suite. Not far from theirs. And I emailed the resort's concierge with some special requests, but first, I needed proof. I needed to gather everything. And so I created a folder on my desktop, Operation Widow. Inside it, I saved every image, every story, from Julian and his precious mother, every sweet moment they were having. I was saving like evidence in a trial, because that's what it was now. A trial, and I was the prosecution. My phone buzzed again. Another message. This time it was a boomerang. Julian and Catherine lounging in the pool, arms stretched wide, floating like royalty. I stared at it for a long moment. My heart didn't ache anymore, it burned. Enjoy it, I whispered to the screen. Soak up every last minute. Because by the time I'm done, this trip will haunt you forever. Later that night, I sat in my quiet apartment, sipping a glass of wine, not for comfort, but for control. My sister called, checking in. You sure about this? She asked, half laughing, half worried. I've never been more sure of anything. She was silent for a moment. They'll never see it coming, you know. That's the point, I said. And that's when it clicked. They truly believed they'd gotten away with it. That I'd just accept it. That I'd forgive, forget, and fall back into line like every woman before me probably had, but they didn't know me. I don't just get mad, I get even, with interest. The plane landed with a smooth jolt. My fingers curled tighter around the armrest, not out of fear, but anticipation. I had made it to Santorini. I walked through customs wearing oversized sunglasses, a wide-brimmed hat, and a long flowy dress that covered everything but my intent. Nobody paid me any attention. That was the goal. The drive from the airport to the resort was a scenic blur of whitewashed homes, cobalt domes, and postcard views that once belonged to my dreams. Now, they were just backdrops for vengeance. When the car pulled up to the resort, my heart did a quick double beat. I recognized the spot instantly from Julian's post just the day before, him leaning against the stone wall, his mother behind him with a wine glass and a triumphant smirk. I stepped out, smiled at the valet, and adjusted my sunglasses. Time to get to work. The receptionist greeted me with a warm, slightly accented tone. Welcome to Thalassa Suites. We hope you enjoy your stay. Your suite is ready, room 207, sea-facing, as requested. Thank you, I said. Voice calm and pleasant, she handed me the keycard and then paused. Also, your message regarding the welcome gifts has been passed along to our hospitality manager. We'll have the delivery prepared tomorrow morning. Perfect, I said. She had no idea what she'd just confirmed. I stepped into my suite and smiled. It was beautiful. White linen drapes danced in the breeze. The balcony looked out over the ocean. A bottle of champagne was chilling on the table, and a small bouquet of roses sat beside a handwritten note that read, "Enjoy your romantic stay with us." Thalassa team, romantic, indeed. I didn't unpack. I didn't sit. I moved directly to the balcony and scanned the floors below. There, 2 suites down, was my honeymoon suite. I could see the balcony doors open. I recognized Catherine's ridiculous lemon-patterned robe flapping in the wind. She was here, so was he. I pulled out my phone. A fresh image from Julian. This time, it was just the view, but I knew that angle. He was in the room. Good. That evening, I took a walk through the resort, a wide sun hat pulled low over my face, hair tucked up, sunglasses shielding my eyes. The disguise wasn't overly dramatic, but just enough to cast doubt on recognition. People see what they expect, and no one expected me, especially not him. I passed the pool area and caught a glimpse of them lounging on daybeds. Julian was shirtless, his tan chest gleaming under the late sun, laughing at something Catherine said. She wore a flowing turquoise caftan, matching earrings, and enough smugness to light a fire. I slowed just enough to watch. She reached over and dabbed sunscreen on his cheek like he was a toddler. I felt nothing. Not sadness. Not jealousy, just the icy, quiet thrill of control. Tomorrow, it would all begin. That night, I reviewed the file I had sent the hotel concierge, special instructions for honeymoon suite guests, morning delivery, champagne, chocolate truffles. And a handwritten card from the wife who was replaced. Note inside the card, I hope the two of you are enjoying the honeymoon you stole. Just remember, every sip you take, every view you admire, every photo you post, I was meant to be there, not her. I saw it all. And now, so will everyone else. But that wasn't even the best part, because I had another surprise scheduled. One I didn't tell the concierge about. Something only I could deliver, the video, the same one I'd secretly taken 2 days before our wedding, Julian and Catherine arguing about her always interfering. Him caving as usual, then, clear as day, him saying, I know it's weird, but if it keeps her from causing a scene, she can come. Ellie will get over it. My hand had trembled when I recorded it. Back then, I had still hoped he'd change his mind. That he'd choose me, but now? That clip was about to go viral, because I didn't just send the note, I scheduled a mass email, to his friends, his family, and his work colleagues, set to go out precisely at noon tomorrow. Subject line, Julian Catherine's real honeymoon. A behind-the-scenes look. Attached, the video. The photos. The captions. Every disgusting detail of their little Greek adventure, the only thing better than karma, delivering it yourself. The next morning arrived with a symphony of Mediterranean breeze, distant gulls, and the quiet thrill of incoming chaos. I rose early. Not because I couldn't sleep, I slept like royalty. But because I wanted to be ready. The first domino was about to fall. It was exactly 9 a.m. when I called the front desk and gave the go-ahead. The voice on the other end was cheerful. Of course, Ms. Lane. The champagne and card will be delivered to the honeymoon suite in the next 15 minutes. Perfect, I said, sipping my coffee. Make sure they read the card. It's personal. I pulled a chair to my balcony and angled it just right. From here, I could see their balcony 2 floors below. The drapes were drawn. But the doors were open. They were inside. I waited. At 9:17, the doorbell rang. A staff member rolled in a tray with a chilled bottle of champagne, truffles, and the envelope addressed simply, to the newlyweds. I leaned forward, just in time to catch the balcony doors parting. Julian stepped out first, rubbing sleep from his eyes, stretching like a man who had everything. Catherine followed, still in that lemon print robe, hair a mess, sipping from a coffee cup like she owned the world. Then she spotted the tray. Her delight was instant. She clapped her hands, said something I couldn't hear, and grabbed the envelope. Julian chuckled and popped the cork. They were laughing. And then. They weren't. I saw Catherine read the first few lines of the note. Her smile faltered. Her mouth hung open. Julian leaned over her shoulder. A beat passed, and then, he dropped the champagne glass. It shattered across the balcony floor, liquid spraying her feet. She screamed something at him. He turned red, like a boy caught stealing. I knew exactly which line they had just reached. I saw it all. And now, so will everyone else. 11:59 a.m., I logged into the email scheduler one last time. The subject line sat there, bold and proud, Julian Catherine's real honeymoon. a behind-the-scenes look. The attachments were intact: video, screenshots, captions. Timestamps sent to Julian's manager, his 3 best friends, his cousin Michael, the one who used to flirt with me, my entire side of the family, and Catherine's bridge club group, just for spice. I clicked confirm and then I waited. 12 p.m. Boom. It didn't take long, my phone lit up like fireworks. Screenshots from friends. What the actual hell, ELLY? Are you okay? You're a legend. A call from Julian? Declined. 3 messages? Unread, then Catherine. 10 missed calls. 2 voicemails. One of them screaming. I played it on speaker as I painted my nails. How dare you humiliate us like this, you little brat. Do you have any idea what you've done? My friends are calling me in tears. My husband saw the video. Julian could lose his job. I paused, smiled, and hit delete. I went out that evening, casually strolling into the resort bar just before sunset. My look? Effortlessly glamorous. Black maxi dress, gold earrings, a deep red lip, the kind of entrance you don't forget. Heads turned. Not because they recognized me, but because I looked powerful. I saw them instantly. Julian and Catherine, sitting in the corner, hushed and hollowed out. He was pale. She was glassy-eyed and visibly trembling. Neither of them had touched their drinks, and then Julian looked up and saw me. He blinked. Like he wasn't sure if it was really me. I raised my glass from across the room, a tiny, elegant toast. To their ruin, I didn't approach them. I didn't need to. They left the bar a few minutes later, practically running. Julian threw money on the table like it burned. Catherine wouldn't even look up. Later that night, I passed by their suite. The lights were off. The tray from that morning still sat outside the door, untouched. Champagne dripping into a half-shattered glass. The envelope, folded and torn, clung to the tray by a wet corner. I stood there a moment, then whispered, "Sleep tight." The morning after the chaos was still and cold, unusual for Santorini, and oddly fitting. I sat on my balcony again, sipping warm mint tea, the sea glistening below me. Peaceful. Serene. Meanwhile, in the suite 2 floors down, everything had cracked. I had heard the shouting late into the night. Catherine screaming through the walls. Julian trying to calm her, only to get screamed at again. Apparently, her bridge club had expelled her from their group chat. His manager sent an email asking for a formal explanation. And every wedding photo they posted? Buried under 1,000 comments. Where's the bride? Does his wife know his mommy's the plus one? Why does she look like she married both of them? It was glorious. That afternoon, I checked out early, no need to linger. My job here was done. The concierge handed me my bill with a polite smile. "We hope you had a wonderful stay." "Oh," I said, adjusting my sunglasses. It was perfect. My car pulled around. Just before I got in, I caught sight of them, Julian and Catherine dragging their suitcases toward the lobby. They looked wrecked. Catherine was makeup-free, dark sunglasses hiding swollen eyes. Julian's shirt was wrinkled, hair unbrushed, shoulders slumped like a kid called to the principal's office. And then, he saw me. Our eyes met for the first time since the wedding day. There was no spark, no plea, just shame. I didn't speak, I didn't smile. I simply stepped into my car, rolled down the window an inch, and said, just loud enough for him to hear, "You could have had forever. But you let her come between us. So now? You get each other. And I get peace." Then I rolled the window up, leaned back, and let them watch me drive away. The flight back was quiet, no texts from Julian anymore. No voicemails from Catherine. Just silence. That was my favorite part. I arrived home to an inbox full of support. My friends, co-workers, and even some of his extended family were furious on my behalf. Julian's cousin Michael sent a message that simply read, "I always knew you deserved better. If you ever want to grab a drink and talk about it, my treat." Oh, how the tables turned. 3 days later, I got a call from Julian's mother, Catherine's sister, of all people. I almost didn't answer, but I was curious. "Hello." I said, "Ellie, I just wanted to say, I had no idea she'd actually go. We told her she was being ridiculous. I never thought Julian would agree. Yet he did. I said coolly, yes. And now? The whole family is torn apart. Catherine refuses to speak to anyone. Julian's father is furious as she lied to him about being on a girls' trip. And Julian's job, they're talking about disciplinary action because of the scandal. I warned them, I replied. No one believed me. She sighed. You didn't deserve any of this. And I'm sorry we ever let her come between you two. There it was, the apology, too little. Too late, but I let her have it, thanks, I said. But I've moved on. I'm just glad everyone else finally sees them for what they are. We hung up. I never heard from her again. Julian tried once, just once, to message me again, I'm sorry. I didn't know how much I hurt you until I lost you. I didn't respond. Instead, I posted a photo of myself at a rooftop party. Hair curled, red dress, glass of champagne in hand. Surrounded by people who loved me, the caption, best revenge is living well. He saw it, he didn't like it, I smiled, they never recovered. Catherine became a local joke, the woman who took over her son's honeymoon like she was the bride. Julian faded out of everyone's respect, demoted quietly, his credibility shattered by a video that was never supposed to exist, and me, I started fresh. I applied for an annulment and received it without any hiccup, no bitterness. No tears, just a lesson, never let someone else write your story. And if they try, make damn sure you write the ending.